I think we're live here. Okay, we're going. Well, welcome back to another episode of Composites Weekly. On today's episode, I have Kyle Jordan. He's returning with the ACMA. Kyle is the Director of Certifications. And then I also have Rob Germann with the Army Corps of Engineers. And these guys are going to be talking a little bit about some of the involvement with the ACMA with the Army Corps of Engineers, doing some of the recent personalized composite certification training. And that's been going on for quite a few months. And happy to have both of these guys coming on to give us a little background. Should be interesting. And Kyle, returning guest, always great to have you back on.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Jonathan, for having us on today to discuss one of the best highlights of the CCT program from 2024. And again, we're happy to be here to discuss that and celebrate it and our partnership with the Army Corps of Engineers. So the results have been impressive. We're very, very proud. We've completed 3 trainings thus far with a total of 65 students being educated through the program.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, we've been very pleased. And again, so happy that Rob's joining us today, and very proud of the collaboration. So
why don't you before we delve into some of the details, you mentioned 65. Was that 65 students again?
It is 65 students total. Absolutely. And we have a few instructors that are very pivotal to that process as well, that I really need to give shout outs to. I mean, 65 students, can't learn alone. So they were certainly taught by some very professional individuals. A big shout out to Andrew Pokenwalt and Scott Reeve from CCG, and a couple of others from CCG as well, who have been very pivotal in the process of instructing those 65 individuals.
Yeah, absolutely. Got to give kudos to CCG, Creative Composites Group, who've played a real pivotal role in obviously providing their facility for the training. And that takes place up in Ohio. Is that right?
It is, in the Dayton area.
Dayton, Ohio. Fantastic area, by the way. Just right outside Cincinnati. So, Rob, we were talking before the show. If you would share a little bit of background for our listeners about yourself. You've been with the Army Corps of Engineers, and unfortunately, Rob is not visible. He was. We had some technical issues with StreamYard, but he's joining us via phone conference call. So you can't see Rob, but you'll be able to hear him. Rob, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, I've been working for the Corps for about 15 years. Enjoyed every year. Great organization, working with great people. We talked a little bit earlier. We really are a problem-solving organization, and we really cherish and grow in those environments. I work at South Atlantic Division, specifically in the Corps, but I'm on a national team that's trying to advance FRP within our community of practices, and looking at how we can solve some of our immediate needs. And so been involved in FRP now for about 4 or 5 years, and we've been trying to expand its use. And training, of course, is critical to informing our workforce and trying to advance the ball as it is.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. What's the, how long have you, I guess you and Kyle have known each other for some time since. Is this the first year? I know that you've done three trainings this year. Is this the first year, or has it gone on in 2023 as well? Or
it was. We began our first training in 2023.
Okay, gotcha. All right, very good.
And we have 3 scheduled in 2025.
Okay.
So we're really excited about those, and the momentum is continuing. And again, just very happy and privileged for the collaboration opportunity, to support our mission of educating everyone on the use of technologies.
So talk about if you would, the ACMA, and why is it so important for them to be involved in the setup? I know they do the CCT training is so important. Most people think of it, we've talked many times on the show in the past, companies that are, they like to have their people up to date on their certifications, and it's so important. One of the the huge benefits of this training is that there's a customized aspect to this training, that you're able to tailor that to the industry and to the company and do on-site training. So talk a little bit about the role of the ACMA, if you would, and how you choose the CCT program for this particular on-site training, and maybe the work that you've done with Creative Composites to get this going.
Yeah, as we started trying to develop and look into and educate our workforce on the applications of fiber reinforced polymers. And some of the challenges, we're a large workforce. We're in every state of the union, and we're 30 plus strong.
Yeah.
And when you start peeling it back and looking at those that really touch our water resource structures, our gates primarily, that's 1,000 employees. And so that's a large student base to try to get up to speed in a short order. And initially we tried to do that through webinars, and we were witnessing that the contact time just wasn't enough, and it didn't facilitate it well with the students to understand the broad perspective of FRP. And so we asked for a little bit of help, and ACMA has a robust and mature program already established. And so an area had the CCT program, which we thought was a great fit for us. And it was adaptable. So we were able to take that program, working with Kyle and the curriculum and Andrew Polkowaltz. We were able to kind of tailor the syllabus down to focus on large gate structures and some of the things that we do from a design perspective that may be a little bit different from a business perspective, but something that we do within the Corps of Engineers. And so they were extremely adaptable. And I think the other benefit too that we've witnessed over the last 2 years is just access to expertise.
Yeah.
It's a large association with a large outreach. And so if we need to have some specialty insight or need to contact a large portfolio, ACMA really fits that bill for depth and breadth when you think about it from our perspective. And they're in every state of the union, so that's really beneficial to us as well.
Yeah. So what's been the response back from, I'm just curious, the curriculum, how it's enhanced, and what's been the response back from the students that you've had that have gone through it so far? What has been their takeaway?
Yeah, it's been a huge excitement, to be honest with you. As we look at pre and post surveys and discussions with the student body, it's been pleasantly surprising and exciting. From a scale probably of 1 to 10, I would say that we're witnessing probably excitement moving to the range of 5 or 6 different score points.
Yeah.
And so from my perspective, that's success.
Mm-hmm.
And that's allowed us to really kind of move the ball forward.
What are some specific issues that I guess you are hoping maybe to address, with this training for your application for your students?
Yeah, well, as I was highlighting earlier, that 1 hour contact once a month, as it is, was really challenging to talk the breadth of what everybody wanted to talk. Whether
right.
Somebody might want to talk design, somebody might want to talk UV exposure, somebody want to talk to the fabrication process.
Right.
A lot of interest in terms of life safety and repairing structures, and so it was really a challenge. And so I think one of the benefits we've witnessed and we wanted to really focus on was the hands-on aspect and seeing things live.
Mm-hmm.
And so one of the benefits, and CCG has done a fabulous job with Scott and Corey there helping us with presenting the classes along with Andrew from ACMA, is that we go kind of soup to nuts.
Mm-hmm.
So we talk about what's involved in the design aspects of it. We talk about applications. We talk about how do you fabricate it and what's the right fabrication of use. And then the students get on a table and actually do vacuum infusion. And then they also get to do a wet bag application. And then we also load out members live so they can see the deflection and see the level of strength that we're witnessing from the product. And so Having seen it, people really buy into the excitement of, hey, this really isn't 1940s plastic items. This really is fiber reinforcement and something that we can probably use in a true application for us. So, yeah, hands-on has been a big deal for us.
What's the structure of the environment? I mean, how many hours, how many days did this go on for each one of these sessions?
Yeah, so we typically turn Mondays and Fridays into travel days.
Okay.
And so we start Monday and then finish up on Thursday. So we got 3 full days. Okay. And this is probably a great opportunity for me to highlight, and I know that you touched on it earlier, the CCG, that, they open up their fabricating facility to us.
Yeah.
And so the senior leadership there at CCG and Shane's support, along with Corey and Scott walking the site, is not only do we have that coursework and hands-on, but they actually open up the fabrication process. So we get to go and watch what I'll probably term as big items being made, which is something that we kind of focus on in the Corps of Engineers. And so it really gives us an understanding of the pace of fabricating with FRP as well.
That's so nice. So what do you see? I mean, I know you mentioned the hands-on. There's no substitute for kind of that hands-on training. Would you say that's probably the most beneficial? I mean, you can try to do this virtually, but it's just not the same, especially the group size that big. I would say just their involvement and understanding, especially you're talking about, you guys did some vacuum infusion. I mean, that.
Yes, we do
you gotta be able to see that up close and personal.
It does make a big difference. We've got people that come in, and I think I touched on it, saying, I don't think this plastic will work. Yeah. And they leave after touching things saying, maybe we could look at this. And then I'll get the other range of people are leaving the class and they're saying, Rob, and I have two, we kind of co-sponsored, myself and Eric Johnson of our Inland Design Center of Expertise. And they leave going, hey, Eric, Rob, I want to start doing this tomorrow. And so it's exciting for us, but of course we have to temper that a little bit, because one of our biggest challenges, of course, we've got to get the material into inventory, so that's one of our next focus. So it kind of gives you an idea in terms of the excitement leaving the class, is we turn doubters into, well, let's see if we can make this work. And then we get people saying, well, let's learn about this, and they want to start doing it the next day. So that's phenomenal.
That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very rich and rewarding experience. I mean, there is a certain amount of time that's allocated to classroom instruction throughout the event. There's a certain percentage of time that's really focused on, those real world examples, as Rob was mentioning about, that we get to see with partnering with CCG. But then there's also those, applications, those hands-on that y'all have been saying and discussing. And, that really kind of just shapes the program and event out to make sure that we're covering all of the different learner types there. So, I do think it's a very rich and rewarding experience from, an educational perspective as well. So it's been great to see. Yeah.
Rob, what do you think from the feedback, what's probably the most favorite part of that training that you're hearing from these students? What do they like the most?
Yeah, so our student base, that's a really good question. Our student base is kind of the spectrum of core employees. So we have our design engineers, we invite our hydraulic steel inspectors, and we also bring our operations people that will be operating the gates and then inspecting them daily, and also those that repair it. They all have a focus area that they want to have. I know the design engineers have really enjoyed this last class. We got great feedback in reference to how do you develop your design basis for FRP, and that was a great 1-hour segment where the engineers really felt a little more comfortable what was in it. And then I know some people are like, well, what if I did it here? And then Corey Sucker will come up and give a presentation on real world applications of FRP. And I know a lot of people like watching it being load tested to kind of give them that comfort that it's not going to break on them.
Yeah.
After touching those 3 different areas, I think they all take away their favorite. But I will say at the end of the day, it still is, and we touched on it, just doing that vacuum infusion and doing that wet bag is something that from every student, everybody says that was one of the positive feedback is thank you for letting us actually make something and understand what goes into doing this.
Yeah. So how do you see the Corps of Engineers, how do you see them continuing to leverage composite materials and also, use the CCT program to your advantage?
Yeah. I'll probably go a little bit bigger picture.
Yeah.
One of the challenges we, the government, the nation are facing is we're witnessing the 50-year wall, as I call it. We had a huge growth of our infrastructure being built across the country in the 1940s to the 70s. And the design's perspective back in that day was, of course, a 50-year design life. And many of our gates were designed to 50-year design life, and they had probably a 20-year major repair effort in between.
Yeah.
I think one of the things we're looking at is we've got over 10,000 gate type structures in inventory. Maybe not all of them built at that 50-year lifespan, but a majority of them are. And so we're facing the challenge of everything needs to be either heavy maintenance or it all needs to be replaced. And we're benefit of a growing budget, but the challenge is the need is definitely outweighing even the capacity of the budget to pay for it. And so one of the neat things with FRP is it is kind of a game changer, changes the rules, because it allows us to take that 50-year lifespan and now actually apply a 100-year lifespan.
Absolutely.
And it takes that 20-year maintenance cycle and moves it maybe to a 50-year maintenance cycle and maybe even a light cycle. And so it's really been a kind of changed the rules for us. And so as we're trying to look to apply FRP, this class is allowing us to kind of work with our team members so that we can start figuring out how are we going to get past this budget challenge. And it's not that our budget isn't growing, it's just that our need is growing quicker than we have capacity to fix it. And I think FRP is going to be, I really think FRP is going to really help us kind of bridge that gap of funding and need.
Yeah, for sure. Do most of the students, are they quite familiar with FRP and the value, or is this kind of, I'm sure a lot of people are quite familiar with the benefits, but are there some just students that you have that come away and just saying, man, this is awesome. This is amazing. Why hasn't this been used more often?
Well, and I hate to say it, there might be a little bit of generational gap there. And I think I'm part of that problem as well. I always use myself as a test case as I'm in my 50s, approaching 60s. I'm a licensed engineer, and I didn't have this in school.
Yeah.
And so what I'm witnessing as I talk to some of the more youthful of our organization, whether they be the field crew out there working hard days, or it be our engineering staff, many of our younger people have better exposure to this type of material.
Right.
And many of us older guys grew up on concrete and steel.
Yeah.
Which is great. And we're really good at fixing it and maintaining it. But we have found that the more youthful of the organization actually move to it a little bit quicker than probably some of us older people like myself. And so so that's where I think this class really helps us, because that's an educational gap I had. And so just doing this class of familiarization with it has really allowed me to kind of grow into it. And I've watched other people in the class, and I purposely won't talk because I want to watch them grow and listen to other people. And so that's the neat thing, is it reaffirms with the youth that this is a smart thing to do and helps them understand it. But I see probably with people like myself really helping to bridge that gap of, okay, well, let's give it a go.
Yeah, for sure. What I'm just curious, Kyle, you mentioned next year, there's 3 planned for next year for 2025. What other trainings, Rob, I would ask you this, what other trainings is the Army Corps of Engineers taking part in in the composites industry?
Well, I know that we do our quarterly outreach, and sometimes we'll do monthlies. You know, we have accented ACMA's training portfolio. There's a lot of stuff already out there.
Yeah.
And free webinars and access that ACMA all offers. As we start growing some depth, we're starting to look at maybe some continuing education units with universities as well.
Mm-hmm.
There's quite a few universities out there that have some pretty robust composite classes, and so we're trying to look into those for just a little bit more depth from an engineering perspective. But we're kind of spoiled that ACMA kind of has a lot of the stuff already available for us, and
right.
And kind of double down. You know, we're really excited to stick with this class because we know that this is really going to make a big difference for us. So we're excited that ACMA. We started the first year with one class, see how it would go. It was a good marriage. We expanded to 2 classes last year, and we challenged ACMA to do 3 classes this coming year. So we're excited. I've got 1,000 employees, and so there's a lot of people that need this familiarization. So
Sure.
We're excited.
Mm-hmm. Oh, we're very excited as well, just to continue on. And I think ultimately, Jonathan, one of the major things we're kind of hitting on regarding CCT in general is that, a lot of people may be mostly familiar with the program as an independent self-study program that they access online and kind of complete the testing process through that process as well. But again, we're highlighting here these customizable and on-site opportunities. So again, just would want to plug just for a moment too, just to continue, the discussions on CCT and how that can be beneficial. We do have an upcoming webinar where we're going to highlight some, benefits and continue discussions around some of the on-site training opportunities as well. So if any of the listeners are, interested in that webinar is taking place next Wednesday. So,
oh, cool. Where can listeners find out more about that?
On the ACMA website under our calendar of events, there is registration links. There's no charge for that webinar. So we'd love to have, everyone attend if there's interest there to learn more.
And that is, I got the website streaming to the bottom. acmanet.org is where you can find it. And then you go to the calendar events page, or do you go to education and then calendar?
You can access it kind of through several different routes, but ultimately you're looking for that calendar of events page for the registration.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And I know we got CAMX coming up
Sure
right around the corner. In fact, we just had Cindy Squires on talking about CAMX. She was on previously. So it's exciting. It's just right around the corner. I guess you'll be there, right, Kyle?
Oh, absolutely. I look forward to it. I can't wait for San Diego, and look forward to connecting with anyone there as well, and yourself, Jonathan. And Rob, if you're going to be there as well, I look forward to seeing everybody in person.
Oh, great, Rob. Hope to meet you in person there out at on San Diego. And if they want to
at the booth.
What's that? Say that again.
I look forward to see.
Oh, okay. Well, fantastic. Gentlemen, I want to say thank you so much. Appreciate both of you coming on and sharing a little bit about that. This is incredible. And Kyle, I look forward to kind of following up with you, maybe having you back on again as we discuss that. And Rob, I think your dog's getting a little impatient there.
Yeah, I apologize for that.
Oh, you're fine, man. You're fine. But he's ready for you to. He's ready for the interview to go. So we'll go ahead and wrap things up. Kyle, I want to say thank you again, and I do want to mention CCG again as they're a big part of this. Obviously, opening up their facility and making this possible. So we definitely want to give them a shout and say kudos to Creative Composites Group. Kyle, any closing thoughts before we wrap up?
No, I think you nailed it. I just shout outs to everyone for all the collaboration. And again,
for sure,
appreciates it. And very appreciative. So thank you for your time. Yeah,
Absolutely. Well, thank you both. And this is exciting. I love reading about stuff like this, the training, how it's being, so many people are being exposed to composites, and obviously through, the CCT training available, working in conjunction with the Army Corps of Engineers. I know you mentioned Andrew Polkwald. He's been on the show a number of times. Andrew's a great guy, very knowledgeable. So very great group of people there. And I look forward to continuing to have you back on and revisiting. Best of success to you, Rob, and look forward to meeting you out at CAMX here. Just, I guess, 3 weeks away. It's hard to believe.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, well, thank you both. I really appreciate it.
Yep. Best of. Hope you guys have a great rest of the day and great week. And again, look forward to seeing you out in San Diego.
All right.
Wonderful.